So I'll go ahead and call to order the Marshall City Council meeting for Monday, May 18th, 2020. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Karen,
Here.
Councilmember Gates,
Here.
Councilmember McNeil,
Here.
Here.
Councilmember Traver.
Here.
Councilmember Underhill. Councilmember Wolfersberger.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'd seek a motion to excuse Member Underhill from tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. A roll call vote, please.
Who supported that?
McNeil.
Okay.
Seems like we have connection issues.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member McNeil,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger.
Yeah.
Mayor Karen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. We will next have the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't believe Scott Lorge has joined us yet this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next we will continue with the approval agenda, starting with any candidates for public office, followed by public comment on agenda items, followed by the consent agenda. And then item 11A, we have the fiscal year 2021 budget adoption public hearing, followed by public comment on non-agenda items and council and manager communication. And I would also like to add a closed session under 8H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from disclosure by state statute, 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act concerning confidential attorney-client written communications dated May 18th, 2020. Any additional comments, additions, or deletions to the agenda? All right, hearing none, I would seek a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion by McNeil, support by Wolfersberger. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
On my camera.
Got a little shit box on camera too?
Member McNeil,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Underhill. Oh, excuse me. Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Mayor Karen,
Yes.
Member Gates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Next, we will have any candidates for public office wishing to speak. If you've joined us and would like to speak this evening, you may do so at this point.
Nobody on the call, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to public comment on agenda items. Anyone wishing to address the council may do so for a maximum of 5 minutes. Just need to speak their name and address for the record.
No raised hands or anything in chat.
Okay, we'll give a couple more seconds here. If anyone would like to speak, please let us know. All right, hearing and seeing nothing, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 8A on the consent agenda is to schedule a public hearing for the zoning amendment application RZ 20.01 for 119 North Grand Street. 8B is to schedule a public hearing for the amendment to ordinance 134.30 fireworks. Item 8C, we have to schedule the public hearing for amendment to ordinance 95.03 prohibited burning and repealing of ordinance 95.04, 95.05, and 95.06, and 95.99. Item 8D, we have the city council minutes for the regular session on Monday, May 4th, 2020. And item 8E, we have city bills totaling $454,823.47. Any questions, comments, additions, or deletions to the consent agenda?
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support?
A motion by Metzger, support by McNeil. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Mayor Karen,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member McNeil,
Yes.
Member Metzger.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. That takes us into item 11A, the public hearing for the fiscal year 2021 budget adoption. John, would you like to get us started?
Yes, I'm trying to get up my screen here. Hope
Thank
everybody
you.
can see it. 2 weeks ago, I delivered a proposed budget to council. Since then, we have adjusted. Director Rice, City Manager Tom, myself have gone through to a, we call it Plan B for the State Department of Treasury. We're still fighting with them over the electric and fiber net issue. So as such, the electric and fiber net budget have been changed. I'm sorry, fiber net was not changed, only electric. So therefore, on pages 58 and 59 have been revised since 2 weeks ago. The charts on page 56 and 57 have been revised, and has page 61 been revised. With those revisions in the electric, the manager's budget message starts on page 52 of the document. That has been changed just to reflect the change in the electric budget. The budget resolution in front of you has also been revised to reflect the change in the electric fund. I will say that the legacy costs are still continue to be a strain on our budget. The retiree health care, the defined benefit pension. Just to remind council that the retiree health care will peak in 2030 and start to decline after that. So we do have some light at the end of the tunnel. We got 9 more years. As everybody knows, with the COVID-19 virus pandemic, revenue sharing projections from Friday's revenue meeting have been revised down considerably. Act 51 money for streets and major streets has been adjusted accordingly. The next step after the adoption of this budget is to start working on changing it. Once we have a better idea of what revenues we're not going to get in, we're going to make immediate adjustments. We're not going to wait around until halfway through the year. Tom has mandated that every fund, every department start working on a 10% expenditure reduction. We need to have a plan in place that if we have to act quickly, we can. And it's gonna be a wild ride. You may see budget amendments every meeting, monthly, bi-monthly. Things are gonna change. The next step that I feel that we need to do is start projecting our cash flows. I am very, very worried that come August, before the 2021 tax revenues start coming in, property tax revenues, we're going to be real tight. So we're going to watch that very closely. So before you tonight for the adoption of the 2021 budget is the General Appropriation Act and the tax levy resolution in front of you. General fund revenues, including MRLAC, recreation, farmers market, and airport, total $8,695,507. And expenditures of $8,701,624. I don't know why we didn't budget to balance this, but we'll be projecting fund reserves, the use of fund reserves by $6,117. Part of the resolution is also to levy a 17.1629 millage for city general operating, a 0.4882 mil for the leaf, brush, and large trash removal, a levy of 0.9171 mils for dial-a-ride, and the same number of mils for recreation. Part of the resolution also is to levy 1.5981 mils for the DDA properties within the DDA. So we are losing 0.0139 mils, which is approximately $20,000 overall. Our all fund revenues are $33,517,519. And our all fund expenditures are $35,860,909. Based on this, without capitalization of the assets in the enterprise and the internal service funds, we will decrease our fund reserves by $2.3 million. But with the capitalization of all capital outlay, will actually increase our net position by, I can't see that number, $1,479,515. 2 weeks ago in the advisor, notice of this public hearing was published. A copy has been on our website and a copy has been in our office for review. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I asked Tom to read a paragraph out of the manager's budget message. You would, Tom?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it, but John, can you just slide that up to that second paragraph? That's not in the resolution. I'll have to get it. Hold on.
Nope, hold on, I got it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the second paragraph really deals with the COVID-19, and I think it's good to have on the record that, you know, the COVID-19 crisis created significant challenges in the preparation of the FY 2021 budget. These challenges include possible reductions of state revenue sharing, Act 51 revenues, and lower utility revenue. Other challenges include unknown factors such as when will the state and local economy return to normal, when will the city's workforce return to normal work schedules, and when will city events occur. Most of these challenges not clearly known at this time will only become measurable as their future events unfold. As such, this FY 2021 budget, as John had mentioned, should be considered with those events in mind, knowing that this budget will need to be amended to incorporate these unknown future events. So staff has been told to watch purchases this current budget year and hold off wherever possible on large capital items till we see really where we're heading. So it's an unknown. The governor did release part of the state today. We don't know how that's going to affect us or when, but we'll continually watch it. We're getting budget projections from Lansing on state revenue sharing, but until the actual check shows up, we just don't know. So this is one that's going to take a lot of scrutiny and watching on a very regular basis by staff, and then we'll continue to keep you informed. And I'm glad to answer questions, or if you want to open the public hearing in whatever order you'd like to do, Mayor.
Does anyone have any questions on the council for either Tom or John at this moment?
I do. Are there any expenditures that we have committed to but not yet fulfilled that we can take back for a while?
Well, the one area that's sort of the opposite is in the new budget is the terminal building at the airport. We have made that commitment. We really cannot get out of that. Actually, construction will start on that June 1st to be done in October. Again, the budget has capital items in it that we are not moving forward with until we know the revenues are there. For example, in the motor pool budget, there's a new end loader. That is a big expenditure that we would hold off. We'd be looking at holding off on any capital expenditures.
So other than the airport, that was the only thing?
That was the only necessary. We always look at the public safety departments. If they need any of their gear, needs to be replaced, that is a life safety issue that we do not want to put our staff in a situation. So if any of their gear needs to be replaced, we will do that. But most of the vehicles and equipment, we are going to try to hold off as long as possible until we see what this year is going to bring us. Majority of our budget, as most of you know, have been on the council, is city budgets are very much labor intensive. With public safety being almost 50% of our budget, almost all of theirs, I can't remember the percentage, is labor intensive. So we're watching if there becomes a vacancy, we want to make sure we cover shifts. But we're analyzing, every person, can we hold off filling that position?
All right, any other questions at this time from the council?
I do. John, I'm assuming we've gotten all of our revenues or the vast majority of our revenues for our 2020 fiscal year. But I with electric and those areas, are you seeing anything that we should be concerned about between now and July 1st?
Yes, we're going to have to watch it. 6 weeks left in the fiscal year doesn't give us a lot of time. Actually, we budgeted quite low in our revenue sharing. So when it got cut for fiscal year 20, we're actually going to come in over budget for those two line items. But the district court, district court fines and some of the payments back from district court, they haven't had court for 2 months now. So, it's zero revenue for 2 months, probably all of May and all of June. We will get March and April's and May and June's revenue sharing payments in June and in August. So there is that coming back in. But of course, our property tax revenue has all come in. So I believe right now for fiscal year 2020, we're looking right around $300,000 or $400,000 gap.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions at this time before we open the public hearing? All right, hearing none, I would like to go ahead and open the public hearing for the fiscal year 2021 budget adoption. Please indicate by raising your hand or in the chat if you would like to speak.
No hands are in the chat.
Thank you. All right, seeing no hands and no comments in the chat, I will go ahead and close the public hearing for the budget adoption. Any further comments by council at this time?
One more question. John, with all those levy or the increases that you mentioned on the various categories, how much is that going to impact our tax bill, say $100,000 home? You levied,
Very minimal, very minimal. It's across all of them is $20,000 total.
20, wait, that'll be the impact on our tax bill?
The difference in the new millage rates, very, very small. I mean, 20,000 total for all 4 other departments, including DDA.
For the entire city, Nick.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay, all right. So it is pretty minimal.
Yeah, I mean, the general fund operating is identical. This dropped by, so on a $200,000 house, I would say that this is probably reflecting either $1.7 or $17. I'm not sure, but very
Okay,
small.
thank you.
All right, any further questions this evening regarding the 2021 budget? All right, hearing none, would seek a motion that the council adopt the attached resolution to approve the City of Marshall budget and related property tax millage rates for the fiscal year 2021.
Moved.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Metzger, support by McNeil. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Mayor Karen,
Yes.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member McNeil,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
and Member Traver.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, we will move into public comment on non-agenda items. Anyone wishing to address the council may do so for a maximum of 5 minutes, speaking their name and address for the record. Please indicate through chat or by raising your hand that you would like to speak.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Seeing and hearing nothing, we will move on to council and manager communications. Member McNeil.
Only thank you to John and the team for all the work on the budget. I hear you that it's going to be a tricky year, but I trust that with the leadership that we've got in place, we'll navigate through it successfully.
Thank you. Member Wolfersberger.
Just a thank you to everybody who came out and supported the farmers market again this week. They're having a really banner year so far, and hopefully we can maybe get some of the restrictions lifted so it's not quite so stringent, but everybody seems to be working through it very well.
Thank you. Member Traver?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Thank you. Member Metzger?
I just had a question on the governor's report today. What did she say, Tom, and does that impact Marshall at all?
What I can read into it, she did open up the Upper Peninsula and the northern region, which is basically the north third of the Lower Peninsula, to almost opened up everything. It really did not affect us here. She's watching, so we're hoping, but again, we're grouped in with the Kalamazoo area, and that's been on an increase there. So unless somebody caught it something else, you know, from staff or council, I don't think it really affected us much, except that we needed to turn our drinking fountains off. I found out when I read the 12 pages, so all our drinking fountains will be turned off, but no real effect on us yet. I sure hope that she will start looking and phasing in some of the businesses in our community. They're hurting.
What are we turning off the drinking fountains for?
It's in her order.
But was there a reason for it?
I think public health, I read through, it was about, I think 12, 13 pages long, and just tucked in there, it says that drinking fountains are supposed to be turned off. So we'll have all our buildings and our exterior, but so staff has been directed to do that this afternoon, but I don't know if there was anything anybody else caught that may have listened. I listened to her, but there wasn't a whole lot for us. I think it's great for the UP in Northern Michigan. You still can't do vacation rentals at this time. So you can go to your own cottage, home, whatever, but they can't rent any cabins or vacation rentals.
Yeah, is she still just going till the 31st?
She has until the 28th with this current order. The court did not hasn't made a ruling yet. I think it's going to be maybe tomorrow, but it'll be immediately, no matter which way it goes, appeal to the Supreme Court. And they said that will be 2 weeks. So it's the end of the month. It's going to be around the 28th. Will be very interesting statewide.
Okay.
All right,
Well-
thank you. Anything else, Nick?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless someone wants to bring up the car show.
Tom, would you like to comment on that, please?
Well, actually, I'm going to ask Scott if he'd be willing to. Thank you, Scott. One of you had asked the question, and the way I found out about it was on Friday mid-morning. The mayor called me and let me know, and then I called Director McDonald. And Scott, why don't you just share what you knew about it, or we didn't know about it, but what all happened?
Well, we got word we'd seen somebody had posted on a Facebook meeting. The guy did reach out to Chief Lankard and talk to him about it. Chief Lankard said, well, it's a Facebook thing. It's not a public event. Certainly, we're not in support of it, but if you're downtown, we expect you to social distance. We expect you to behave in your driving, et cetera, et cetera. A guy assured us he would, and he didn't anticipate that many people. They posted like 16 people were interested in attending. Well, somewhere in the middle of this, the Enquirer published that he had this event, and we ended up getting a little bigger crowd. But again, it wasn't a sanctioned event. Majority of the people were behaving. Some of the traffic's difficult to maintain. We did call in overtime once we noticed the event was getting a little larger. And since we had a few complaints about it, Chief Lankard has submitted the matter to the prosecutor's office, referenced the gentleman that posted this on Facebook, so Prosecutor Gilbert will be taking a look at the matter. My guess is on that, that's similar to what we've done all along, just educate and warn. And as a side note, he's decided it was wise to cancel any further Facebook events that he's posted.
Well, I think that the concern that a couple people that reached out to me had was the at least, and I realize, you know, Facebook is whatever, but people seem to have the impression that they did have the endorsement of the city or at least of the police department, and with even some very positive comments made about the officers that were downtown, as far as how they were, you know, basically ignoring things. And I'm not implying anything towards the police. I really am not. I understand that this is.
Oh, no. And that was the Enquirer's article led it to believe. When I read that, I contacted Chief Lankard, and he said the guy was a little deceitful in the way it got published. So, no, it was not endorsed by the police in any way, shape, or form. And if the officers are being nice, that's my expectation of them. I can hardly expect our staff to crack down on people when the governor allows protests with masks and guns. I don't think that gives me much authority to crack down on some people driving up and down the road. The prosecutor will be the deciding factor on that.
Yeah, that's very fair.
All right, thank you, Director McDonald. Member Gates, any comments this evening?
No, I don't think so. Not today. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Nelson. City Manager Tarkowitz.
Just one thing. I would like to really consider, not knowing what the governor is going to do next week, to have you consider, we can discuss the possibility of our June 1st meeting, not meeting on Zoom, possibly meeting in a larger facility, not in your council chambers. It could be the fire hall, somewhere we can spread out. You do have 3 public hearings, so I would assume there's going to be some people joining us for those public hearings, including our attorneys, and Mr. Sullivan's on, and so I plus the petitioner on the rezoning. So I'd like you to maybe be thinking of if that's a potential site. We also have the PSB training room, or the law enforcement room, where we can spread out a little bit. But I'd like you to maybe be considering that if the governor, whatever she may do, may consider that it may be on a short notice. We'll have to, because the 28th is a Thursday, but just want you to maybe consider the possibility of doing that. So we can discuss it here if you want, or if you want to just plan for a Zoom meeting, no matter what the governor says, in a way of opening up. So I guess we're open for opinions.
I'm a Zoom meeting girl.
Okay.
Does the current executive order regarding, online meetings go that far at this point?
Online meetings, Tricia, I believe, goes through the end of July. Does that sound correct? Or
I think that sounds correct.
July sounds right.
Okay, so we still have some time.
mm-hmm.
All right.
Other opinion. I'll take it, whatever opinions.
I'm open to either option myself.
I think if we do it in person, we still have to, I would think, provide a forum for people to call in. If there's going to be people who are interested in the public hearings that aren't going to be comfortable because they're immunocompromised or they're elderly, they're not going to be comfortable, I would imagine, coming into a public space like that.
Okay.
I'd support doing Zoom at least one more meeting, and then readdress it.
Okay. It will also, I mean, if we're going to plan to do a Zoom, it will be our first time that we'll actually have a comment, because I think there will be public comment on those ordinances. Then what I'm hearing, we'll just go ahead and do the Zoom then.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the council and manager communications. At this point, I would seek a motion that the city council convene in closed session under section 8H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from disclosure by state statute, section 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act, being correspondence from its attorney dated May 18th, 2020, for the reason that the correspondence is exempt from disclosure under state law due to the attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Support.
A motion by Metzger, support by Wolfersberger. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Member Gates,
Yes.
Member McNeil,
Yes.
Member Metzger,
Yes.
Member Traver,
Yes.
Member Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Mayor Karen.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. We will continue this meeting in a different Zoom that was sent by Eric prior to the meeting. So everyone should have that in their email.